To our new series, Legends You Are! So today for my Beyblade show, everyone, welcome to my new series, Legends You Are. This is a series where we take a look at the rarest Beyblade Burst bays, and this is going to be awesome. I actually was able to get a set of rare Beyblade Burst bays that you'll see videos coming out on this channel here and there. And we'll be first taking a look. So the origin to this Beyblade is through Rare Bay Get Battle. Rare Bay Get Battle is basically this sort of campaign where you have to spend 3,000 points to the points you've collected, and you might have a shot on getting Amaterios. It's super hard to get. As you can see right here, it's on the site, and it is super hard. So you can do it through two ways. You can either do it through Rare Bay Get Battle, which I think is the only other way, because what is it? The Bay Terminal machine? I think those aren't around anymore, but there used to be one at the time. Yeah. Was it for this one? Not for this one. Are you sure not Bay Terminal?
No, it was the Black Horse Falcon.
It was a Black Horse Falcon, was it? Regardless, rare Beyblades like that are either through the Bay Terminal, which they gave up for a while now, or Rare Bay Get Battle. So let's actually take a look at this. So I've never actually got any experience with Amaterios. The only other time, funny enough, as you can see, has actually been only through like Hasbro. So you can see right there, I've only done really the Turbo Hasbro thing, and I've done actually a battle that actually had a borrow bay that someone had just to actually do battle against the Hasbro Amaterios. So this is, I believe, what is it called? Shinning Amaterios. There were other variations where it was Shadow Amaterios, which was the first one ever made. We then after had, I think it was Shining, which, funny enough, we actually found out about Shining Amaterios through a data mine in the app before it was officially publicized, which is very funny. And there is the 3DS Amaterios, which I'm not too sure what the difference is yet as of right now between it, and we also had Flaming Amaterios. I'm pretty sure these are also Shining, just a small difference in the mold probably, but really cool. So let's try to open this right now so you can see that I'm actually really excited just to show this off. I've never had my hands on an Amaterios bay like this. I don't know how good the parts are. Like, with bays like this, it's really hard to get an idea because other than the Hasbro one, which is pretty accurate to the original, it is really hard for someone to actually do drafting for it and just test it through battle. So here we've got Anchor. So Anchor, this is an attack type Beyblade, I should probably mention. Looks really cool. So you can see it has gold metallic paint on it, and you can see sort of like these rigid layers around it, like the little spikes around it, which I guess probably is why the name it got for Anchor. And just taking a look at it, you can really see it does have a pretty unique shape, and what I've been able to see through the battle is that Anchor is a little bit unpredictable in the sense that it just kind of goes bonkers in the stadium, and it'll kind of go in one part, then it'll briskly attack back to the other side. And I think it's alright. I'm not too sure how really good this performance tip is. So you can see right here, again, this is Anchor, so let me just do that to show you. Really cool. Let's try to do Angle, then Aero. So here we have Angle. So Angle is actually a new frame. This frame has never actually been repeated as of yet. So it is really cool just to see it. So you can notice in the design, it's very spiky around. I've noticed that in battle, you will get probably a few scrapes on it. So if you ever thought of, let's say, lift or maybe wall, I would say, you might be in for a bit of a ride. It does seem like this frame is really good for covering around the whole disc and giving, I guess, 3 edges on all the sides. So it's very triangular. So I guess you can probably give maybe some decent balance. And I think it's mostly, it kind of reminds me in a way of maybe Dagger. So it's kind of like 3 mini blades around it. So it's probably good for attacking its opponent, I guess, in that regard. It looks alright too. It's nothing too crazy. I wish I could actually test more with it, but moving on to our next part, we've got Aero, or I should say Aero Prime, because the original Amaterios actually did come with a part that's called Aero. So this is a sequel to that part, which is called Aero Prime. Now, Amaterios never actually got, like, the only Amaterios we ever actually saw was the original one that came during, I think it was the manga Beyblades. or was it not the manga Beyblades? I think it was maybe around manga Beyblades Dual Lair, like the first season, right? And we got God Amaterios that was released during the God series, but that wasn't really an evolution of Amaterios. So finally having a part that's actually really cool, we have Aero. So Aero is pretty small. It sort of reminds me about, I guess, maybe the 2-disc and 3. I guess, yeah, maybe the 2-disc and 3, sort of if it was combined. So you can notice that there's a lot of these little circles around it. Obviously it's a nice gold with that nice metallic paint, but just trying to notice around it. This, I'm not too sure how good this is. It is pretty small, but it looks alright, I guess. Again, this is more of an attack base, so you'll notice all the blades around it and everything. So again, I think the point of Shinning Amaterios is it's supposed to deliver like a lot of bladed hits to its opponent and really going fast. I mean, that usually is attack types, but I think in this case in particular, it's really just trying to go. We now have the lair, which is Amaterios, Shining Amaterios. Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. I love it so much, and it's so nice, right? It is so nice just to see Amaterios finally, like, here. Even though I'm going to probably put it away for the collection, I might get it if there's ever another sequel to Amaterios, which I'd actually would love to see. But what I actually want to do is show it quickly with a level chip, a yellow level chip, I guess it matches. So you'll first see the teeth right here. You'll also notice that Amaterios, for its little gimmick, other than the fact that it has all these metals around it, and it's mostly on the inside, so I don't think it's going to make much contact. You notice there's a little blade on the outside, and then after these little small little blades right here. So when it's hitting its opponent, these little blades will sort of contribute to it, I guess, in a way. And what I'll actually do now is show you. Okay, so I'm not gonna actually put it completely, but this is kind of like Air Knights, it seems. It's really hard to get that level chip on, so I don't recommend putting a level chip on it. I mean, if you want to, you can, just probably don't, because it's a little hard to. But I do want to compare it to the other Amaterios bays that have been released in the past. I first off want to start off with the Hasbro one and actually see how close they are, because just going side by side with Hasbro, it really does seem, as I probably said in the original, that Hasbro did a pretty good job with the mold and trying to put their own stats. Hasbro did a good job with that. I think maybe some slight differences on the mold, but other than that, it's pretty good, pretty good. And of course, let's try the other ones, which is Shining. Yeah, so Shining and Flaming, just different color variations, I guess, from what I'm able to actually tell. So it's really not all that bad. So really, we have gotten a few variations of it. Again, I'm noticing that there are 3 blades, and then after this little tiny part right here, we've only gotten, I guess, 2 other releases of it for that lair, to my memory. But the big difference, I guess, would be Shadow, since Shadow comes up with a completely different shape on there. It comes with this little blue thing and these little blades around it. So that's really all the differences you should really look by. And what I want to do real quickly is show some other stuff too I could mention with Hasbro. I think, though, it is really cool that the fact that I actually get a Hasbro Beyblade before the original one. Obviously, when we're looking at the two, other than the slight color variation, I think Hasbro is actually able to do a good job. Even looking at Anchor real quick, other than like the color, not really that much of a difference with the mold. I'm barely noticing anything. Maybe other than maybe the tip parts. So let's first do a weighting on it. So it is around 18.5 grams. We then have to have Aero with angle. Aero with angle is 19.2 grams. I'm obviously rounding right now. We then have to have Anchor, which is 6.9 grams. So that means that in total, we should be looking at, let's see, a total of 44.6 grams. Not that bad for a Cho-Z Beyblade. So something I quickly do want to do is compare it to the previous Amaterios layer. So first, let's see what this one is. This is about 18.5, right? So then after we have Flaming Amaterios, 18.2. Let me just make sure. 18.2, yeah, so 18.5, so it actually is a little bit of a difference. So Flaming is definitely a different mold. Yeah, Flaming Amaterios is definitely a different mold. Let's see what the difference between that and Shining is. So 18.5, 18.17. What's the difference between that and Shadow? Let's see. Is Shadow's heavier? 19.08 versus 18.5. So it seems like Shadow Amaterios actually is the heaviest out of the group. Oh yeah, Hasbro, my friends. Let's see what you got. 9.5. No, but so cool to see this. So what I'll actually do now is you gotta look at this. You have to look at this and tell me if it doesn't look cool. Just look at it. What an amazing looking Beyblade. So overall, I've got to say, it's so cool to see Amaterios. It is a little bit of a shame though that in the Cho-Z anime, we never actually, or the Super Z, whatever. In the anime, we never actually saw this Bey ever used. I think it would have been really cool if, what was it, Count Knight, I'm pretty sure it's called. The one who used the Eclipse Beys actually had Amaterios with him, which would have been cool, but I guess not. Again though, with Beys like this in particular, they usually only have it in, I guess, promotional comics in the Koro, just sort of like quickly advertise it. They're usually never really in the anime, which I guess kind of makes sense, but what I want to do now is actually do battles. So we'll probably do battles in the small stadium first, after I do a test launch, and then after I want to do a big royale. So let's get it on the base stadium. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Very nice, just a quick little shot. This is an attack type Beyblade. It's looking pretty nice indeed. Now I did actually say I was going to do it in the small and the big stadium, but I actually feel the big stadium is a little bit better just to actually gauge how Amaterios can work. So first off, if you maybe launch it at an angle, very funny because the frame's called angle. You can hear how Anchor actually performs, and Anchor, you can see how it kind of like slows down in the movement. I'm guessing how it's going to work is that if you hit Shinning Amaterios, it's kind of supposed to bounce back in a way, I guess. But let's first test it out in an actual small stadium. I just wanted to launch on this. As you can see, we have a stadium right here. Now let's try to do a quick launch. Hold on. Yeah, you'll see what I mean. It's a little bit crazy. I don't really want to say it has like an aggressive movement, more to the fact that it's just kind of really fast, but I think that speed might be a little bit of its downfall. So first off, let's do quick one-on-ones. So flaming, that's heavy revolve. We'll do 2 rounds each. So you can hear those little mini blades actually hitting on flaming. That's sort of the gimmick, which I don't really know how effective that gimmick is. I guess the idea is that these mini blades sort of keep on hitting, and then after, along with the big ones, to really give it a push. By the way, this is like decent teeth. It's pretty decent for the layer, I guess a little bit tight. So hold on. Oh. Just knocked it out there, hey! Probably, my rating might be an 8 for the Amaterios. Well, it keeps on doing like that. You'll notice that the stamina is really not too good. Like I said, it kind of sort of does like a Slingshock way where it kind of bounces back and then after hits his opponent. You see, it doesn't really work unless you're able to... So I guess really, the stock is maybe good for knocking out its opponent. I don't really think it can win much. But, speaking of not winning, let's try Hasbro versus Takaratomi. Takaratomi just cruel today. But, let me try to actually do the reverse of that. I don't know what's going on right now. Now Hasbro on. You see, I'm not really that much of a fan of Anchor. I think Anchor's okay. Like, for an attack performance dip, I guess it gets the job done, but still, you know what I mean? See how weak... that's not even weak, it's just like bad stamina. Because I guess those little rubber spikes are supposed to assist it. See, because it rides on the curb of the stadium and it's kind of making it a little bit difficult. I'm going to try one more time against Hasbro. Let's see. There we go. Come on. So when it doesn't kind of, I guess, use that rubber to give it like a boost in speed, it's pretty alright. It's like a flat tip on the bottom with a little bit of that rubber coating. Yeah, it could beat Hasbro, but now we're going to do one match against Shining. So... Alright, let's try it against Shining. I don't don't think you can really beat any of the Amaterios base. I could do it against the previous evolution, but after I show off Shadow. I mean, alright. It's basically like a yin and yang for Shadow. Shadow's like the evil version, I guess, of Amaterios. It actually is a little bit funny too, since I guess in a way, all other versions of Amaterios has been introduced with a prime driver. There is no one that doesn't actually have anything. Just a standard one. Alright. Actually, funny enough, I do have the Christmas Amaterios layer, I'm pretty sure. If you really just want to see the difference, it's basically sort of just like, it's more expanded on the fact that there are added blades on it, and you can actually see more of the avatar, like the little avatar that Amaterios has. But, you know, overall, it's not like all that crazy. I'll do it against maybe one GT Bay and one other Cho-Z Bay. If this video is actually able to get past, let's say, 1,000 likes, then I will definitely do a sequel against all GT and Cho-Z. Let's do it against Vice Leopard. Yeah, it's a little bit weird because it kind of slows down there randomly. Then after you're kind of wondering what's going on. See what I mean? It's a little weird. I guess weaker stamina than destroy. Let's try Bushin Ashura. I thought Bushin Ashura because it might actually win, but I guess I might be wrong. Try it again. Amaterios, come on! Seems like I can't win. Or not, hey! The ultimate Bushin Ashura defense type Beyblade. So, finally, let's end it off in this stadium. So, I guess the rule will go whichever one I actually want to launch first. Let's see. I guess we'll go with Flaming. Shadow! Look at all the Amaterios bays. Of course, Hasbro's the first to be out. Flaming. Oh, then Shadow. Alright, we'll do like one more round. And again, if you really do want to see more Amaterios battles, let me know. I know there's not too many people who actually have this Amaterios. Like the other versions are more accessible, but still. You can really hear those blades hitting each other. Well, I guess it is kind of funny that Shadow is the one that actually stood out in the end. I guess the evil Amaterios is the strongest one. But if you want to see more battles, let me know in the comment section below. Please make sure to comment on which is your favorite Amaterios 2. Whatever battles you want to see, leave as many comments as you want. I'll try to make sure I can read them. As well, to anyone who is a little bit more, I guess, knowledgeable in the competitive sense, what are your thoughts on Amaterios and its parts? I guess if you've ever gotten the Rare Bay, or at the very least, if you've at least, I guess, had the Hasbro version? That's the only real thing I can say. 1,000 likes is our like goal. Thanks for watching and have an awesome day.